The creator economy as it stands now is worth over $100 billion and is one of the fastest growing and biggest booming economies of the 21st century. Investors are currently pouring in millions of dollars to the creator economy because of the need of fulfillment for content for companies and brands to execute quality and consistent content. Currently, as it stands, there are an estimated over 50 million content creators who create content for a full-time job. The recent rapid growth of content monetization is a big reason why so many people are becoming content creators. And the trends are showing that as time goes on, the creator economy is going to keep growing at a very fast rate due to the multitude of ways to monetize your content on platforms and the different ways to do so. A big reason why content creators are needed so much now in today's world at companies and brands is because, as we all know, everything is going digital and everything is on demand now. Because of this, ad clutter is a prominent problem that a lot of companies and brands are facing when trying to advertise or market their products in today's world. This has created a strong need for content creators and influencers to help these brands and companies break through that ad clutter to enable them to uniquely market and advertise products and services for them. Brands and companies also realize that you cannot go wrong investing in relationships and communities, and therefore building a strong team of content creators and influencers to connect with the community is only going to help the stock of their brand. Content creators in today's world make on average anywhere from about $50,000 to $150,000 on average. However, there really is no limit to that number due to the vast ways that creators are able to monetize their content and make money through social media. For creators such as Charli D'Amelio, who has over 100 million followers, she's netted in a short span of time in only a few years at 17 years old over $8 million. And a lot of people think that making that insane kind of money is only attainable if you have a following like her. While on average, you will make more doing paid promotions and promoting and selling products. That is true. You can still make a very sustainable, and I like to say limitless living if you are strategic and do all the things necessary in order to maximize your monetization as a creator. While you have your Charli D'Amelios and Addison Rays who are making millions of dollars per year off of hundreds of millions of followers, there are also those followers with only a couple 100,000 subscribers or people who follow them that actually do earn hundreds of thousands of dollars a year based off of either the products and services that they sell, the ways that they're able to monetize their content, and other various ways. Now let's talk about some of these ways that people are monetizing their content in 2022. For starters, building a brand around a product or service, building a brand and eventually launching a store to potentially sell a product. And when I mean sell a product, it doesn't necessarily have to be a product. It could be a service. You could be a consultant. You can market your own digital marketing services and drive clients through social media by making content about running ads on a particular product or service. You can start an account just around a product, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's shoes, whether it's a trending e-commerce products like lamps, like LED lights. There are really no limits on to the types of products that you can make a breakthrough and produce viral content around and scale it by marketing it to an audience. Selling products and services is a great way, and you can either start your account around that product or service, or you can wait until you build a sustainable following with maybe it's 10,000 or 100,000. You'll know when you have that community to when you can launch that product, and eventually you can drive sales through that community and that following that you build over time. One of the most common ways that we see this is when big influencers start selling merchandise built around them, because the community and the relationships that they built with their followers will end up translating to them purchasing a product that they're selling to represent that creator. Another great example of this is finding those trending products, and often controversial that a lot of people are very passionate about, tend to do very well. Along with selling products and services, a lot of these social media platforms are paying big money to creators. We've seen it with YouTube. We saw it with Snapchat Spotlight in 2020. Now we're seeing it with Facebook and TikTok, planning to further grow the amount of money that they're giving to creators. So now all these platforms are starting to give away big money to creators, especially those who are competing with TikTok, because when TikTok came onto the scene, it really took out a lot of these other platforms and stunted their growth. So now, in order for them to compete, they're giving away a lot of money to creators. While those are probably two of the most common ways that creators are monetizing their platforms and making money, there's so many other hidden gems out there, such as going live on TikTok. Now creators are making thousands of dollars going live, because when they build up that big following and go live, their followers have the ability to send them gifts in the live stream. And some creators are making thousands of dollars per one live stream session. And once you master your own way to create content for yourself and scale your own social media, you can then eventually offer that service to other clients who are struggling to do the same. I know for myself, a lot of these startups and companies are in major need of people who are able to create content for them. Because again, a lot of these people are a lot older and they have no desire to learn how to use these social media platforms, and they don't understand how the algorithm works. So that's why people that do understand it and do have a history and success of creating content for themselves and other companies or brands that they built, they're able to then consult or work for some of these big companies and make a lot of money creating quality content for them. Because of the multitude of ways now in 2022 to monetize your content, this is why the number one piece of advice I give to everyone, if you have a passion, start creating content around it. Whether it's just your everyday life and your routine, just start documenting and just start creating the content. There are going to be so many opportunities for people who know how to successfully create content, not only make a lot of money for themselves and doing what they love to do, but also for other brands and companies. You may not see a need for the content now, but at least the best thing I can tell people is to just start documenting and just start getting as much content that you can. When you go on trips, get videos of where you are. When you're working out, have someone take some videos of you. If you work in an interesting industry such as real estate, record a sales calls or have someone come record your open house. You never know when that content could come into hand and that you could use that to potentially bolster your own social media and the endless opportunities that can come with that. Now, I know a lot of you who may be watching this video may not have a lot of experience, or you've tried doing it in the past and you struggled on how to grow a following, on how to create the content. And I'm going to give you a couple of the biggest tips and the biggest things that I've seen that has enabled me to accumulate over 1.5 million TikTok followers over the past 2 years. And I'm going to give you some of the skills that I've used in order to grow at a very fast rate. And I'm going to give you some of the skills and techniques that I've used in order to grow and scale your accounts while also finding ways to monetize at a very fast pace. If you're someone who really hasn't begun their content creating journey and the process of trying to grow on various social media platforms, the number one thing to note early on is the most important thing at the beginning before you've established that following and you're putting out content is volume. Putting out a lot of content early on is very helpful to increase views. And the thing is if you're putting out 10 to 15 videos a week, you're much more likely to get traction off of a few of those instead of you're just posting like 3 or 4 times throughout that week. It is extremely important to be consistent with your content, and consistent in a variety of different ways. For starters, like I said, that volume early on, get a posting schedule, get disciplined with it, and figure out how and when you're going to be able to post and maximize your content output. I understand that some of the content might take a lot longer to make, so for that reason, it is okay. Oftentimes, there's that big debate of whether you want to be quantity over quality or quality over quantity, and that's when it comes down to the type of content that you're going to be posting. If it's content that's quick to make, and it's just, like I said, you're filming a part of your day, whether it's workout, travel footage, or you're filming something that you do in your everyday life, you really want to try to put out as much content as you possibly can. However, for more in-depth and longer content that could potentially be shot with like an actual camera, then I do understand that it may be a lot harder to produce content at a faster rate, but therefore hopefully you will be rewarded for the high quality content as opposed to the excess quantity. Another thing, when you're posting your content, it's very important, especially early on when you don't have that established base, to find a niche. And like I said, I don't mean just consistent with the volume of content that you're posting, but consistent with the type of content, meaning that when you're starting out, you want to build a base, and a lot of the times that base is going to follow you for something specific that you're posting. So if you're all over the place, if you're posting fitness and cooking content today and then dancing content the next week, it's going to be very hard for TikTok to kind of establish you in a niche, and therefore it's going to be very inconsistent for the algorithm. So it is important to find a niche and go all in with it. As you begin to grow and you begin to build your base of followers, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to differentiate your content and go outside of a specific niche. But early on, especially when you're starting out, find that niche, get locked in, and grow. take it and run with it. One of the last things that I'm going to say that helped me the most early on was not getting discouraged. The thing that you have to keep in mind is that when you're starting out fresh, or even if you're starting with a small base, a couple thousand followers, a couple hundred followers, and you're trying to scale it to 100,000, 500,000, whatever that number that you're looking for may be, it can get very discouraging, because a lot of the times when you're starting out very low, or you're starting from scratch, or like I said, even a couple hundred or thousand, you may not get hundreds of thousands or the millions of views that you want right out the gate. It's all a process. You got to stay consistent. You got to get locked in that niche, and you got to create quality content that's going to appeal to the masses, create a hook that's going to get people entertained, and they're going to keep them coming back for your content. But it's very important to not get discouraged, because if you get discouraged and you just give up, then all of it's pointless. But as long as you realize that, early on, it's all going to end up paying off if you just stay consistent, then you won't have any issues. So do not listen to the critics or anyone that thinks you're crazy or funny for wanting to create content, because like I said throughout the entire video, it has become a legit job, and people have made a lot of money, and people are going to be making a lot of money for as long as the creator economy is going to exist. But as I've already stressed in this video, I can't emphasize enough why I really encourage everyone, no matter what they're passionate about, to really dig deep down to what that passion is and just start documenting and creating content right now. If you have a job and you're really trying to break that job or add a great supplemental income stream, there are so many ways to monetize your account, as we've talked about earlier, through creator monetization funds or branding your own products, whatever it may be. It is a great supplemental income that you can add to an already existing job. And you know what? If you're currently working a job and you're trying to find your way out, this could be it. Just stay consistent, and it's going to end. A big reason why this is so important right now is because there's social media platforms out there that exist, such as TikTok, which is by far the biggest social platform in the world today. It actually beat out Google's 15-year run as being the #1 search engine. TikTok has more watch time than YouTube, which is a longer form content app, which is just crazy to think about, that in such a short amount of time, TikTok came up and became this massive platform that is so widely used throughout the entire world. As Gary Vee said, what we're looking at with TikTok right now is 2015 Instagram. It's still early, but you don't want to get on it before it's too late, before that organic reach and the algorithm isn't as great as it is, because the more and more people that get in that are posting content, it's going to be harder to grow. That's just how these apps work. But while you still have time, in my opinion, I still think that there's 2 good years left. I can't emphasize enough to get in on it and start creating content, especially on TikTok. Another reason why I think creating content on social media is so important in today's world is that it can be an immense tool for networking. The amount of people that I've met with the School of Hard Knocks and just with my personal content as well is just unbelievable, because some of the people that I've connected with, I didn't think that I would have ever been able to meet. So therefore, creating content can be a really great tool for networking, for building those connections, and eventually strengthening those relationships. And you never know what doors could potentially open up by the people that you end up meeting. The last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is that creating quality content and scaling on social media is one of the biggest skills, in my opinion, in today's world that can be carried with you for the rest of your life. As I mentioned earlier, knowing how to grow on social media through the creation of strategic content is a skill that companies and brands are needing every single day in today's world, because they need that consistent quality content that they can break through that ad clutter and beat out other brands and companies. And like I said, if you're currently in a job where you're unhappy, if you can add this supplemental income stream, learn the skill, learn the ins and outs of content creation, you never know what doors that could open up for you down the line. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you're going to take me up on all that I've said and start documenting and creating content, because you never know what opportunities it can lead to. If you learned something new, if you enjoyed the video, leave us a like and subscribe, because we got a ton of more fire content coming your guys' way. Thanks for tuning in.